Welcome to Prompted and Unfiltered, where a group of business owners discuss pain points and sometimes random subjects, including our own. Before we get started, last week we talked about getting your name out there in the community in a new location. Donnie, have you added anything or taken anything away from last week's video?
Yes, I I didn't do everything I wanted to do, but I did get some t-shirts, made some more t-shirts that have a little bit more on them than just this one. Just has my name on it, so and it doesn't say what I do or anything, just my company name. So I did get um, some shirts coming, and then I am looking at some of Patrick's advice on getting something to give to customers that they will remember and not throw away. So I'm looking at different things on that, and then was working on another contract, I guess, but that doesn't look like it's going to go through. So, but that took up a lot of time this week, I guess, dealing with that. But
You had me you had me concerned for a minute when you started off and you led with I took Patrick's advice because we ended on blowing up the competition or robbing a bank, or there was a few things in there that was kind of concerning.
yep,
So
I just want to point out that if he had taken that advice, he might be a millionaire right now.
yeah, you never know.
or he might not be on this podcast talking to us right now. Like 50-50
50-50
shot.
shot.
That's fair. Well, hey, I'm glad it worked out. You got some shirts. Hey, I got to ask though, on the shirts, did you get the one? Is your wife hot? Tell her to call Donnie.
No, that's what I should have done.
That would be hilarious.
You missed the opportunity. If your wife's hot, call Donnie.
Yep.
Next shirts, you got it. Cool.
I'd wear that.
Well, this week, let's dive into a pain point that me and Patrick have talked about a lot recently, and that's going to be team retention and long term happiness. And I know Patrick, that's been a big pain point for you. What can you say about that?
Well, first off, I want to say not so much the long term happiness because I don't give a crap about people's happiness, but
This is
just
why
like
you can't keep employees. Now we know.
I would like to point out that I've kept several employees since the very beginning, but so my big thing is just like when you're a small business, there's not always a lot of upward mobility, right? There's typically like I'm going to use our industry as an example. There's not a lot of growth potential. You know, you're to an extent, as long as you're with the business, you're going to be doing the same basic job. And I think that for most businesses, until they get to a certain point, that's the case. And so I think my biggest pain point is like how can you retain employees when you're limited on your resources and you're limited on that upward mobility? And in the grand scheme of things, I mean, people are going to be doing the same basic job. You know, if you even let's use a bookstore as an example, and let's say it was a real bookstore, like a, not a real, you know what I mean,
Your bookstore is
Wow.
not real. It is
physical,
totally
a
fake.
physical bookstore. But if you hire somebody to stock the shelves, then and be a cashier, if you're a small bookstore, like there's not that many other jobs that they could be doing, right? And so, um, I just think that that's not just for us, but I think for a lot of businesses, that can be, you can find somebody who's really great, but they're not going to necessarily want to keep doing that same job forever and ever and ever. So, how do you keep them? How do you hold on to that person, especially when you've invested a lot of time and resources into training, developing, and things like that? Oh, Justin's got a wise
So
answer. He just crossed his legs, so it's about to get deep, y'all. I hope you guys got your boots on.
So you ask way more questions in that than what I was anticipating, but I'm not allowed to give my opinion first. We got to go to AI. Brittany,
Yes.
based on what Patrick just said, can AI help him solve his team retention problem?
Well, let's see.
No, nobody can solve his team retention problem.
No,
Have
because
you seen his like gray walls in there? Like it's a
Well,
everybody's
mood killer.
depressed and miserable.
I was gonna say I can't solve my retention problem because at the end of the day, they still have to work with me, and that's probably the problem.
100%.
That's why I quit working for Justin.
I don't know why you started. I'm just
Yep.
Wait a
So,
minute. Wait a minute.
kidding.
I think I fired you.
no, I'm pretty sure I quit.
That's how this happened. And you run a fake bookstore now. It's not even real.
I knew
It's
that was gonna come back to bite me.
very much real. All the time that it's been put in, it's very real. Okay, AI says first you have to build a purpose driven culture. So make sure your values align and you communicate the impact that employees have on the big picture. That's first thing. Second thing is prioritizing your employees' well being. So making sure they're happy. Making sure they have a good work life balance. Encourage using PTO. Avoid glorifying overtime, which you don't do overtime anyway. Support flexible work arrangements. Um, this says encourage growth and development, but I know y'all can't really do that. There's not any growing really.
I guess we could
Once you
turn them
get
into agents and create our own competition, which sounds like a brilliant idea.
no, you just got
Stupid
to make
AI.
sure when they become agents that they move far away, like
Sure.
another state.
Like
Recognize
Texas.
and reward achievements. Give bonuses, shout outs, internal rewards. Recognize not just the outcomes, but also the effort, innovation, and collaboration. Foster relationships, team building exercises. Listen and act with regular check ins.
Sounds
That's
like
what
a lot of
AI's
work.
got. I mean, you can either do that lot of work or you can do all your work by yourself and not have to pay anybody.
So there was several things in there that just doesn't fit Patrick's persona. Like listen,
Make sure they're happy.
engage, care about your team. Don't be. I mean that wasn't in there. AI didn't say that, but I added that one. Just
That sounds like the advice you typically give me.
I.
He should probably take his own advice. Huh?
So I say this is a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black, you know.
I
You want
can
to know
go
what I
get
got
one
in
of
trouble
your.
for?
We can bring one of your employees on and see what they have to say.
Uh,
You
going
need to
back
leave
to
my employees out of this.
going back to that advice though, I think that one of the first things you said was keeping them motivated towards a goal, or it said it a lot more eloquently than that. That kind of ties back into a book I read, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And it talks a lot about how you can have a moonshot, which is like, hey, we're going to go after this big crazy goal, but what happens when you get that? And really a lot of our lives and our jobs should be about pushing forward to achieve a goal that's ultimately not achievable, so that we always have something we're working towards. And I guess that kind of lines into it. Like maybe our goals should not be so short term. Maybe our goals should be, hey, we want to end uninsured drivers, which is nothing. It's something we can never accomplish. But if we're always working towards that goal, we're still moving forward. Or I guess a more appropriate
My
one
shoe.
for our industry would be, or our brand would be, hey, we want to make it so nobody dies without life insurance, and that's our end goal. And then every time you sell a life policy, we're moving towards that goal.
Yeah. No, that's a big one, right? So what? And I know you've probably tried a ton of things, and I know we've talked about a few in the past. But what is the biggest push, the biggest thing that you have tried to help with employee engagement, team engagement, that hasn't worked out like you wanted it to?
I think my big thing was, a couple of months into opening, we gave the 4-day work week a shot, and we still do it to an extent. And ironically, the two people who engaged with that the first are the ones who are still here. But my goal with that wasn't just retention; it was to avoid burnout, and it was to create like a little bit more of a culture of like, hey, we got this, and not such a frustrated culture. And in that regard, I feel like it was a major failure. Like the team is still just as burnt out as when we were on 5 days, and the culture has still suffered even with the 4-day work week. And I think that's a big motivator. But in some ways it accomplished a little bit, but it definitely did not accomplish everything I was hoping it would.
Yeah. Donnie, I know you've read a lot of business books and stuff over the last several years. Is there any key pieces? I know you don't have any employees of your own right now, but anything that would stick out from any of the things that you've recently read about employee retention or your experience being an employee before going into ownership?
Nice plug there, Patrick. Um,
You know we're
well,
recording on the other device, right?
Oh yeah, I know. I was just being funny.
um, so not really as far as books go. Um, there's been some things in there, but what's really stuck out to me is um, one of the guys I follow, and there's several other guys that do, the same thing. But um, you know, treat your employees like they're almost like their family, and give them give them a really good bonus structure, um, and pay them very well. Don't I mean, a couple of the and that that's going to be hard to do in kind of what you guys do because your rates are fixed and on certain things, but it's different for me because I can sell more of a I mean I have more margin, I guess I would say. But you don't want to pay what your competition is paying. You want to be more than your competition, and um, and then the bonus structure as well. You need to pay more and have it structured properly because there's a I don't know how it is. I think it's this way in Texas, Patrick. And you probably know it better than I do. But one of the guys that I listen to his business is in Texas, and as far as commissions and things like that, you have to. It's complicated the way he explained it because if you if somebody worked overtime, it's something to do with the commission you pay them if they work overtime. You have to show an
The
hourly wage for them versus an actual commission or something like that. It was kind of goofy the way he
Yeah,
explained it, um, but you have to show it a certain way, otherwise the IRS will come after you.
yeah. My accountant pays attention to that a lot, but my very rudimentary understanding of that is that if you have somebody who is commission only or commission makes up like more than a certain percentage of their income, then yes, you have to pay them hourly for the additional hours they work, even if their primary is the other way. And
Yeah,
it's some sort of goofy law, which thankfully we're not even close to, so we don't have to worry about. But yeah, there are some goofy laws like that.
Donnie, you can't worry about the IRS right now because the Texas Rangers are on their way to your house. We're talking about how Texas is structured. Like,
Yeah,
you better be prepared. It's
you
coming.
said something bad about Texas, and Texas
it's
is coming
actually
for you now.
I think it's actually nationwide because it's a federal thing or something. I don't know, but he was just talking about how
It should
when
be.
you do commissions, you have to do it a certain way, otherwise the, it they they can come after you because he had it happen to him. So he was
Backtracking is not going to save you here.
he
Chuck Norris is on his
he
way.
he was paying them, or the way that he put it on paper. it was not right. You have to divide all those commissions up and put it in as an hourly wage or something like that. It's something goofy like that. I don't know. Luckily, I
Yeah,
don't have to
no,
worry
there's
about that
definitely
right now.
labor laws around it. Not right now, but you will. Brittany, so previous to you trying to own a fake bookstore, um, you worked for
How
me
long do
for
I
a
have
number
to
of
bear
years
this
Don't
now.
cross? How long do I
so
have to bear this cross?
until you buy books from said fake bookstore, and then I'll let you off the hook.
Okay. The punishment
How's he gonna
doesn't
buy
fit the
books
crime, but
from
it's
a
acceptable.
fake bookstore? Oh, that's so that you can prove you're a scam to him whenever he actually tries to buy it and it don't work. You just take his money.
Yeah.
I got it. No, I'm with you 100% here. No, but you've
Uh,
been a nurse for I don't know 10 years, not that long, pretty close, eight,
Yes, I have been a nurse for 11 years,
11 years. Okay, worked in the nursing industry.
I guess.
When you was working for a clinic, a doctor, or whatever, what was the one thing that your employer did that made you want to come back, like every day?
besides Peyton.
You don't work for them anymore, so you know.
Oh gosh. They gave me a paycheck. That was what got me coming in every day. But these little things that made us happy, like being recognized during Nurses Week, getting little gifts, getting our summer a little gift. The Christmas bonuses we got were always great and better than any of the other clinics around us got. Um, just the bonuses, rewards, recognition, things like that.
I have one quick question. It seems like there's an appreciation week for everything. When is Insurance Agent Appreciation Week?
There is there is something like that. Hang on, I'll tell you.
Nobody has ever
She'll
celebrated that with
Google it.
me.
While she Googles that, we'll come back to this. Donnie said one thing that I wanted to touch on too. Um, and I've always been told this, and whenever I first went into business, I was given this advice by another agent that basically Donnie said treat your team like their family. I think you got to be a little bit more deeper and treat them like they're your children. But you're choosing who you adopt, right? So you're giving them an allowance. You are basically in the form of paycheck, right? For task or for chores that you have them do, like just like your kids. But you have to show your kids appreciation. Buy them a candy bar every once in a while. Throw a freaking Monster Energy drink at them. Buy them Easter baskets. Apparently, that's a big thing. I think those small gifts go a long. Don't judge me right now. Those small gifts go a long way, especially because I didn't buy an Easter basket this year, but they
You do
expected
know
one
there's a
apparently.
legal age that your employees have to be before you can hire them, right?
14.
Oh, dang.
14.
Okay. Never mind. I take it back. You keep hiring children and giving them those kitty gifts. I mean, it
I think it's
works.
14 for your own child, but 16 for other
Hmm.
children. Anyway,
Unless
Okay.
you operate a mine. If you're operating a mine in Kentucky, then it's like 18.
Hmm.
But that's because we're blowing stuff up.
so
That makes
there's
sense.
not a National Insurance Agent Day. There's just National Insurance Awareness Day, which is June 28th.
Mhm. I mean, I would just appreciate it if somebody said thank you after we gave them a massive check because they were careless enough to total their car.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's expected.
Hmm. Can you please cut that out for me?
No, I will not cut that out. That's definitely staying in because
Uh,
it's the truth, right? I would appreciate that as well. But with you saying that, your team would also appreciate you saying thank you every once in a while. When's the last time you thanked your team?
I do make a point of saying thank you at least twice a day, every day.
So I didn't post yet because I'm always like a week behind on my Facebook, but I planned my next week's Facebook post and got them scheduled for next week. And this was a question that I would like to ask you guys just before rapid fire, and then we'll talk about it later. But um, man, how did I phrase that? What is one thing you do every day in your job that sounds crazy or illegal outside, like if nobody knows what your job is?
Calling and asking for credit card information.
I was thinking that. Hmm.
Patrick, what you got?
That was my first one. Okay, you ready? Asking
I'm
people
ready.
who this other adult is that lives in their house with them.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, a crazy thing that I do all day long is I just walk up and tell people good job, and I have no idea what the hell they just did. Because I mean, I don't really interact with customers a lot, but I'm walking around talking to my team like, "Hey, you're doing a good job, fantastic." I have no idea what you're doing, but good job.
They are doing a great job shopping on Whatnot or whatever it is.
Whatever they're currently doing, I'm just gonna walk up and be like,
Watching
"Hey, good
TikTok.
job." You know, Donnie, what's something you do in your job that was out of context?
Hmm. I got nothing. Yeah, I
Sell
mean,
people chemicals.
Nothing.
I would have to go with uh, the credit card thing. I don't like I don't like asking people for that information. Um,
Man, for you, I would have done something like I take screws out of big equipment and sometimes put them back. Sometimes I don't. Like that's why I got extra stuff. Um,
yeah.
Getting off subject, but employee retention, I think it's the small things that make a big difference. The 4-day work week, we do it. It helps trying to avoid burnout. Like I get where you're coming from. On the 4-day work week, the ultimate goal as a business owner when you go to that is to not lose production though, or not lose what you're currently doing to maintain or even do better. Um, but it's hard losing that extra day unless your team is motivated to still push for something else, right? If they have the long term big goal in mind, like we want to ensure everybody in our state or in our city, right? We don't want any uninsured motorists. We don't want anybody's air conditioner unit to go out because we want their maintenance to be done on time. Um, but if your team is not bought into that vision, I don't think it really matters what you do to try to keep them because there's always going to be problems. You got to get that buy in from your team somehow, whether it's a financial buy in or they actually believe in the cause. And I think that's the biggest part is having the right team.
I think though I'm just gonna take the first advice and try to treat my team like family and ignore them except for one day a year when I try to tolerate them for a couple hours.
Yeah. You got to take
That's
them
how I
out to
treat my
eat.
wife. Food, everybody loves food.
Yeah. Give them a monthly dinner or lunch or. That's what Justin does. Justin does a monthly lunch.
I do. I do a monthly team lunch, like a team building thing that
I even
we
get to
we
go to
talk.
that.
Nice.
I let them choose too. It's on a round robin. Like somebody will choose lunch this week. We also try to do other fun things in the office. Yesterday we played ping pong ball tic tac toe. No idea. I pie face my team all the time, randomly.
That seems like the opposite of employee retention.
Your office is more like a circus than an office at this point.
Pretty much, but I think most of the time they enjoy being there. Uh, no, treating them like my kids. Like I would totally walk up and throw some whipped cream in Connor's face.
Your kid is your employee. It doesn't count.
Actually, technically he is, but he don't ever show up though. Worst employee ever. I think he's
Because
got
you're
2
never
hours.
there. I was gonna take him today and you came home at noon.
You got some valid points. You make some points.
Here I am working and you're just showing up at home while I'm trying to work.
Patrick, treat your team like family. I think AI had that wasn't even AI's advice, was it? That was
No.
Donnie's advice. So
Yep.
AI for the loss, Donnie for the win on this one. Treat them like family. See how that goes. So I know you dogged this for the thing. However, I'm still kind of salty about you challenging me to fight a grizzly bear last week. I would like to challenge you on your way to work in the morning. Stop and buy your team a Starbucks, a Shadrack's, some kind of coffee thing.
They don't have Shadracks in Texas.
I don't know what they have in Texas. Some kind of local coffee thing. Now, you'll
Or the
know kind of
breakfast
what they like,
tacos.
right?
You could take
Get
I
them
them
don't
something
breakfast
because
tacos.
I
sweet.
don't drink coffee, and so like going to Starbucks would be roughly akin to you ordering tacos in Tijuana.
Everybody likes white chocolate mochas. Just go with iced white chocolate
Dude,
mochas.
do it. Stop on your way in the morning, go through the drive-through, buy
Or
4 iced white chocolate mochas.
or message them and get their drink order. Like you could always do
No,
that.
it's got to be a surprise. Make it
Oh.
a surprise. And just see if tomorrow is better. Come in with a small surprise tomorrow and see how it goes. It's a Friday. Fun Friday.
Can I modify that to next week though? Because I only have one in play tomorrow.
Yes.
Modify it till next week. Monday. Do it Monday and then let us know how
Monday,
that
I only
day
have one
goes.
in play too.
It's 4-day
Tuesday?
work weeks. Come on, you know that.
That's true. Tuesday. How about Tuesday?
Tuesday works.
Well, tomorrow you
Can
can
you-
figure out, like, just watch what tomorrow's employee is drinking when they get there. And if it's coffee or an energy drink or water, and then do the same thing
Something
on Monday.
sweet would go over. Don't show up with some black coffee. Like some kind of sweet coffee, a nice treat. Bring it in one day next week. Don't tell them. Don't ask them. Just do it. See how it goes. Let us know next week how it went on the podcast.
Fair enough. I can try that. But I want to see
Employer
proof that you
retention,
hugged the
let's try
grizzly
it.
bear first. Grizzly bear first.
Well, I'm taking another 7-hour drive tomorrow and then hanging out for a few hours and another 7-hour drive home and a day after that. It just seems like my life these days.
Hang on, guys. I just got a text from Justin. It says, I hugged my wife. Does that count?
It's very dangerous sometimes.
I schedule all of my social media posts and sometimes it pops up at the most inconvenient time.
All right, are you
All
guys
right,
ready
we
for
are
some rapid
we are
fire?
kind of pressed for time because Donnie will get fighted pretty soon if you don't go in and fix over to the Morgan Wallen Award. So let's
He's
hop
got
over.
8 minutes.
He's got 8 minutes. Let's hop over to some quick rapid fire questions.
All right. So first off, if your pet could talk, what would be the first thing they said to you?
What are you giving me to eat?
Damn.
Was that Oreo?
Mine would say, "Why haven't you fed me yet? It's 1 minute past dinner time."
Yeah. Mine is let's go outside.
All right. If you could swap lives with any fictional character for one day, who would it be?
Brittany knows this one. Come on, Brittany. Who are you swapping
Let's
with?
go.
There's too many.
Nope, you got to pick one.
I can't pick one.
It's rapid
Okay,
fire.
I'm
You have to pick
switching
one and
with
go with it.
Hermione Granger. We'll just go all the way back. We'll just
What
do
the heck is that?
Hermione Granger. It's Harry Potter. What is wrong with you? No, we're not
Oh.
friends. Patrick's been
Okay.
excluded from the group. He doesn't know what Harry Potter is.
I don't know. Donnie, what
Okay,
you
I'm the
got?
only one that went. Like,
Donnie,
Justin?
you got a fictional character?
Fictional character.
At
I
this
don't
point,
know.
you should probably be Reacher.
Yeah. There you go.
Reacher.
Yeah.
Reacher's a good one. So I'm gonna go with. Does a cartoon character count? Yeah, cartoon character.
They're fictional.
Sure.
I want to be Johnny Bravo. You guys remember Johnny Bravo? Like that cat was cool.
Oh my god.
I would go with Batman, and then I would sell my entire
You want to be an
empire.
orphan?
Yeah, who cares? I don't talk to my family anyway.
That's fair.
But I would sell my entire empire to myself the next day for $1, and then I would be Batman.
Patrick's trying to commit fraud right now. IRS. Look at him.
All right,
He's
one last
avoiding the
question
gift tax.
before we have to sign
One
off.
last question. Let's go. One last question.
All right. Let's go with Let's go with a fun one. You guys all ignored karaoke last week, so we're gonna have to skip that. Would you
I
rather?
did not. I sang.
Yeah, unfortunately. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I'll take the
Giraffe duck.
100 duck-sized horses.
100 duck-sized horses.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I feel like
What are you doing right now?
ducks are aggressive.
But these are duck-sized horses.
But the implication is,
ducks.
if you're gonna fight them, they're being aggressive no matter what because you're
So I
fighting.
don't want a horse-sized duck, or do I want a duck-sized horse?
100 duck-sized horses.
100.
Oh, it's 100 either direction. I was
No,
thinking
no,
it would
it's
just
one
be
No,
one
big
up, like
duck.
100 down.
Shut
Or
up and listen.
one- Yeah, or 100 little tiny horses. Well, maybe not, because that's why I would take the one horse-sized duck because
Yeah,
you only
that's what
got
he
one
said,
thing
one
to kill.
horse-sized duck.
Yeah. But if you're having to fight, some ducks are big. Not all ducks are this big, And so I would take the one duck-sized horse. Or horse-sized duck,
Giraffe
sorry.
ducks. Yeah, if there's only one, I would take the one big one. The
Yeah.
horse-sized duck. This massive duck. I'm going to ride it.
You can't even fight your kid who's bigger than you.
Yeah, but he can't fly. Can the duck fly? The horse-sized duck cannot fly because that's an important question.
I'm assuming so. I mean, it seems like it's a fully functional duck. Which also sounds like it would be a great meal after I kill it.
I want to ride it.
That's not an option.
It'd be
You have
like
to fight
what?
it.
No, I'm going to tame it. It's going to be like my dragon.
I do like my dragon
this-
riders. For
I think
sure.
you spent too
Can
much
the-
time reading Brittany's books.
Hey,
No, but
somebody's got to.
now I want to know if this duck can breathe fire.
Why would
No.
the duck breathe fire? And
know.
nowhere in there
Why would
have
it
we
be
said
the size of
anything
a
about
horse?
fire.
Why would it be
Steroids.
the size of a horse? Like, we're already
Steroids.
talking about mythical
Steroids.
creatures at
You
this
know,
point.
it landed in the pond of a test facility and it drank a bunch of chemicals or absorbed them through its butt or something. I don't know. And then it laid an egg, and out of that egg came a horse-sized duck.
All right, Donnie's got to go.
I'll
We're
be,
gonna get him in trouble.
I'll be. I can hear you. Keep talking. I'll be right.
Okay,
I'll
he's
be,
coming back.
I'll
He's
be
coming
right
back.
back.
So, horse size. Okay, come back. I'm going with the horse-sized duck.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I would fight.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. All right, so we'll let Donnie catch up here in a minute, but let's go ahead and we can work on finishing this out. Patrick, do you have a one sentence takeaway from what you're going to try next week on your employee retention?
Treat them like family. Ignore them except for 1 hour once a year.
That's perfect. Buy them a Christmas card and not even an actual present. That's great.
No, I think the big thing I'm gonna try the sporadic appreciation gift. I think that'll be a big thing.
So, just going on that one, I would say it does make a difference. My team at least acts like they're happy whenever I walk over to the gas station because I got distracted chasing the duck in the backyard. End up at the gas station, but if I come back with like a white monster or something, they tend to like that.
It's
It's
so racist.
It's the zero sugar version. That's the only one I can get.
Uh,
All right, Donnie, before we close this out, one sentence takeaway from today, or one last piece of advice for Patrick on his employee retention. What you got?
One last piece of advice. I guess same thing I said earlier. Just take care of your people. As good as you can and better than your competition does. That way, you don't have to worry about anybody taking your people and they're gonna wanna. If you're treating them good, they're not gonna want to go anywhere.
Fair enough.
My last piece of advice is if you don't treat them good, but they're good employees, send them my way and I'll treat them better.
quite a move.
You,
What's that?
you're so lucky that you live like 15 hours away from me.
Why are you going to send your giraffe-sized duck after me?
No,
Is that what it is? You actually have a giraffe-sized duck?
maybe. And if I did, I would
Patrick will let
definitely
us.
be sending it there.
All right, guys. Patrick will let us know next week if his random gifts throughout the day helps with his team member happiness, and we'll see if it helps long term. If you have any pain points you would like us to discuss, drop it in the comments. We'll get to it at some point. Next week, Brittany says she doesn't have any pain points. So we will not be having a pain point. Well, it's because she doesn't really have a bookstore. Like, it kind of makes sense now.
Oh my god.
We will not have a pain point episode, but we are going to go back to our roots and have a random topic podcast generated by AI through Brittany's. So we might be talking about fictional characters, fantasy male role models, or what's the perfect length to trim your grass. Come back next week to see what we come up with.